Hello, welcome fellow Mythrunians to another weekly live stream. Tonight we're going to be working on creature tweaks, which I think is a phrase that's fun to say. Um, Basically variations on the skins of the animals and stuff so we can have like more randomized versions and so on. Before we get too far, let's look at the lower center of the screen. That's where you can download the last build, which was from like beginning of July. And that's also where you can join the Discord. Let me thank my patrons real quick. It's a dwindling number, but I'm really happy to have you all here. So thanks again for contributing. And without too much further ado, let's go ahead and dive into sort of what I got done this past week. Once again, up in the upper left is that link if you didn't get a chance to copy it down. Hopefully we'll get soon to the point where I can just publish that link clickably. But I like to keep it a little bit harder to get to so that random bots don't just find my page and start spamming me. Alright. So, let's talk about what I did. You know, it occurs to me I might have just messed up my butterfly model. I might have to really quickly fix what I was working on. Hold on, I was trying to add to the rigging tool the ability to have not just scripts that are initialized by the rigger and set things up and get saved, but scripts that run on the rigger when it's the rig itself when it's loaded. And so like in here I've added like a initializers that's got like where it finds the script, where it needs to copy it to, and so on and so forth. And then when I was basically the copy part was kind of messed up, so I was working on that and it was busted. So I think that's right. Script name, source root. I think it needs to be like that. And then this needs to be source dir. Target scriptor. And so similarly script target dir info get target path. Sorry, I was like working right up until the last second, and so let's see if that fixes the problem. And I'm 99% sure that when I saved the butterfly, it messed up the butterfly, and if I try to run the game, it's not going to work. The very worst case scenario that okay, so let's see. We load the butterfly. Boink, boink, boink. Uh-oh. Oh, okay. Well, this is something I can fix and just reload. Oh, and you know what? That's not going to work anyway because I've got to do that. I don't think I did that. And I got to fix the model because I basically, yeah, I didn't put my commas in. Comma. So, welcome to the live stream. Hope you all had a productive week. I had a very productive week. You'll see in a second. I got a lot done. Basically, I finished all of the wand stuff and the resource stuff, so that's good. So let's try to compile the binary. Is it going to succeed? No! Alright, caused by resource not found. Oh, yeah, okay. because that is not on the class path. Alright, so temporarily I'm going to stub this out. So we'll just do this. And that, it's basically, it's trying to run the script. But ironically, Rigger can't find it, but Mythruna would have been able to find it because the script would get copied, etc. But so I have some work to do on this side. We'll definitely have to get that working tonight. But at the moment, I just want to be able to run the game. Ugh. Resource animals, butterfly, not found. But why are you trying to? Oh, yeah. So, sorry, I'm a little on the back foot here. So when I make changes to the main Moss rigger, I have to install it so that the Mythruna or specific rigger can find the new code. And so we try again. We load the butterfly. What I want tonight to get done at the minimum is to have butterflies that can be, you know, at least different colors, but I'd like them to be, you know, have different skins so that in my ideal case we can have like a monarch butterfly that can be colored any color, and then we can have still this blue morpho butterfly and any other kind of butterfly I want to add. Is it going to work? No, new error. Why are you trying? Who is calling get resources? I cut you out. Nobody should be calling you, literally. Oh, it's in the wrong. Shoot. Wrong library. Now we shall work. Anyway. But, like currently to set the skin color and the hair color of people, I have some stuff hacked in that goes and edits the materials, but I wanted something more general that could do more than just set a material color on a material that's named a certain way. I want to be able to potentially even change the shapes, because this will lead to different like hairstyles and stuff as well. So it's just okay, so we get farther. Yeah, so that's not right. Error copying. Well, you shouldn't be. Okay. We're getting closer. Trust me. It's just to do things the right way, sometimes I have to go through several steps. Where do we save the thing? Okay, so it's not, yes it is red view state. Okay, so this script targeter that's wrong. We want to find where get scripts, get source root. Alright, let's try source root here. And we're a little trial and error. Normally I'd put debugging statements in and figure out what all the things were, but I'm hoping to guess correctly the first time. Anyway. I'm so happy to not have that little heart covering up the chat text. Alright. Come on, work. We got stuff to show. We got cool things to look at. Compile binary. Woo, we're getting closer. Source main rigger. No, see? No. Okay, I'm doing something with the path that I shouldn't be. Info gets source path. Oh. Well, for one thing. So that part was right. It's this other part that's not. Alright, we're going to have to resort to log info source root. Source root. Maybe that's wrong. No. Source path. Log info. Script name I know is right. Target path. And oh, that's not right. That is 100% not right. We want that to be... That's the one that should be the model binary jar. No, it should not. It should be the... Let's... shoot. What is it? Models, human, female... Oh no, wait. We want to see... Yes. Source main rigor, models, human, female. Cleanup? Yeah, okay. So she's getting... She's copying it to the target root, the target asset path. And so we want... Yeah, okay. Model binary jar is the target root. Log info target root. Alright. Install. I cannot believe that I'm spending 15 minutes fixing something that I could technically just pull it back from Git and move on, which I might do in a minute, but we gotta have this done anyway. Just usually I like to start the stream by showing off what already happened. Okay, butterfly. Compile binary. It's not going to work, but we got more info this time. Okay, so source root is not at all what I need it to be. Source path is. I think that's also correct. We're trying to copy it to there. And we can check. Yeah, no, I know that's right. Whoops. Alright, so we need... Yeah, that's not at all right, but I think it's just not the... Yeah, I think we just need to do this. Script file, script source dir equals this. I don't think I need those anymore. Save it. Tools are always the interesting problem, right? How much time do you sink into the tool? And so part of this problem is that I haven't sunk enough time into this tool, and a lot of it's just kind of duct taped. And we'll run into that when we start to really implement this scripting support. Okay, so compile binary better work. Hey! Copying blah 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 to blah blah blah. Okay. I need to add a little log that says I'm copying the other to the other. But it worked, and so I can copying script file to... So I was just trying to make my life a little easier. Okay, so that's fine. Let's run the game. Hopefully I haven't broken it. In fact, hopefully it will run the script I added. I don't think we'll see the logging, but hopefully it will work. Come on, let's go. Yeah, because it's got to rebundle all those assets. But la 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 la. Yeah, so at the beginning of the week I dove off a deep end, trying to find worlds that had deserts. So this started with the build wand because there are certain kinds of rocks you can't collect unless you place them down first. And so like if I actually limited resources, there'd be certain kinds of resources you just would never have access to because you can never find them in the world, like black marble, white marble, you know, dark granite, sandstone. So far so good. Alright, and I think there's probably going to be a couple animals running around too. So, yeah, because I spawned some animals so that I could take their picture for the thumbnail for the... Okay, so we have a build wand, which like before, you know, so it tells me I can build 40 dirt cubes, and if I place one, now I can only build 39 dirt cubes. What I'm talking about is, well, I can't point to it, but you can see down there it says dirt cube 39 at the bottom of the Mythruna screen. Oh, I forgot that part of you is covered up. So, and so as you collect them again, it'll do that. And so it's keeping track of all those resources, and I'll show you the script that does it because it's kind of cool. And then what I have it set up so that if you're in the inventory, you can go here and you can right click and you can say show status, and it'll show you all of the resources you have collected. These are all the possible resources. You know, some of them I have 0. But also, if you pop up that little selector menu for selecting different block types, you know, it'll show you, you know, how much of everything you've got. So, like, technically, I can place 0 iron, but like, there's no limit right now. So, what was that? No such property multiplier for class build one. Oh, somebody is not happy. So build one.groovy line 55. Let's just check that out real quick. G55. Oh, multiplier. But multiplier's right there. Oh, multiplier. Alright, so there was a bug in the script, and I think that's a recent addition. And so if I pick this up, it's going to tell me, well, except for because I haven't made one of those yet, I haven't picked up iron. That's where that bug is related to. Anyway, moving on. So the build one's all hooked up and all the resources are hooked up. It just doesn't actually limit you. The other thing I did was I went and I made different grass block shapes. For the ones that the textures could just stretch and they would look fine. Like, these technically don't line up perfect at the corners, but it's close enough. And the reason I did that is because as I add new creatures, I'm going to want them to be able to spawn. And so I want to be able to create these little animal dens. And so having these little mini caves, like if I take this out for a second, you can see down in there, there's a little animal den. So you could have, like, you know, lizards or dogs or, you know, foxes, whatever could live down there. But because I did that, you know, I ended up with all these other shapes too. And so now you can do all sorts of things. And before, there was only, basically, before, the only 2 types of grass block were this one and, what is the little half block. And so you only had these 2, and the half block was just kind of a squashed one that I put in temporarily. But now there's actually a proper, you know, slab down block. And if I replace it, you can see that the, first of all, you can see that the texture here lines up, but this is like lower. So that was kind of a cool bit of art that I had to do. Resurrect some old Photoshop files and stuff and make a version that had this like half block. But that's also what the basis of, now you can have you know, even these what is it, the beam down, so you can have like these guys too, and they all line up together. So you can have all kinds of different grass blocks now. That's kind of cool. If anybody's actually on, say hi, but otherwise I'm just going to keep going. Things that we didn't have, like the, I think we've got wedge, but some of the, like, wide wedges didn't work. Oh no, I have a wide wedge. Oh yeah, wide wedges work. It's the tall wedge that you can't, because it's stretched too far. So these, these work okay. They don't exactly line up, you see, but they're close enough that I was willing to do it, because it creates a whole bunch of new variation. Like I could put down here. Anyway, so that was that. But yeah, the big thing was getting all this hooked up. And the neat thing is that this is using my dialogue system, so it's just popping up a regular dialogue. From the back end, it sends us, this over as a stream of text. And I have a simple like markdown parser, and so this is just like I added my own version of multi-columns to markdown, because markdown doesn't normally support multiple columns. But this is just your regular markdown image and a markdown text, split into 3 columns. So I can use this for any NPC dialogue, any tool dialogue. The other thing is that this pop-up happens because when I hit E, it calls the show status on the build wand, which means any tool or held item could pop this up on E. So if you had, so if you were holding a sword, for example, and you pop this up, perhaps it could show you, status of your sword or how damaged it is or something like that. I don't know. But the point is any tool could use it. Yeah, so we've got like the dog and the butterfly and the Gafen all playing over here. Yeah, so this is one of the desert worlds I found, and I'm going to talk about that real quick. But I wanted to find a world where we spawned in the middle of a desert, and so I created this tool that lets me, basically it uses the minimum amount of the fractal from a world and just increments the seed and generates a map image. So what's it? Explorer. Where did I put these? Oh, it's in a separate. Yeah, that's right. And so I've got these maps, and so I generated the maps for the first 1,000 seeds. Maps. And so if we pull this up, they're just these teeny little maps, and the interesting thing is it points out some problems. Like when the ground is flat, these edges between climate zones are way too straight. So that's something I'm going to have to fix, but now I have a tool that makes that easy to see. So this is seed 0, which actually starts you out in the middle of an ice sheet. That's why this is blue. Like, it's a huge ice sheet. I had to walk a long time to see civilization, though there were a couple towns dotted around in here. And so, like, you can see seed 1, seed 2, seed 3, and so on. And you can go and see, like, this one has a desert not far from spawn. That little red dot is spawn. This represents about 48 kilometers, or Mythrunian kilometers, right? Which is a kilometer is actually 1,024 meters. So this is whatever 3 times 16, 384. So this is a huge area. Like, it would take you forever to walk across this. Yeah. So anyway, I found some that were relatively near. So this is in the middle of ice sheet, snow. Some of these look kind of cool. Like this one, you're on the edge of a vast ocean. This one has some dry land, probably some grasslands. Anyway, I found this one's cool. There's a big desert sort of to the southeast of spawn, but there was one that we start actually right in the middle, and yeah, so this one's cool too. We're kind of on the border of what amounts to mostly like in and out desert grassland, which is kind of the world that I've been playing with lately. So this is one, if you walk far enough, you can get to this big desert. But there's one here. What is it? No, not that one, not that one, not that one, not that one. So I think this is the one I'm... No, the one I'm doing now has it on the coastline. But there is... crap, where did it go? I was posting about it to the... yeah, so that's not... Hold on. Is it in the... No, I see I've already gone... Ooh, way too far, I think. Did I pass it already? I took notes, so because I'm not a dummy. Not here. What did I put the notes? Yes. So, oh, it is. It's 1:45. So we had just a little bit further to go. Oh, so here's one that we start out very close to a big desert. Yeah, so here, you start out on like the top of this sort of oasis mountain, and then from there on there's like these all these canyons and stuff, and then if you get through the canyons, real tall like plateau style canyons, then you get to this sort of vast desert. It takes about a day and a half to walk from here to here, I think, or something like that, 2 days, if you just flat out dead run. So it's pretty sizable. This, if you think of like a third of this, is about as far as you can see on the map fully expanded when you're playing the game. Anyway, this tool is super useful for exploring the different fractals and finding particular worlds that I'm interested in, and I've already found some bugs that I need to fix. There's a couple of these where this is not one of those worlds, but there's a couple of these where even though the desert shows that it ends here, if you actually go there, the desert ends over here or up here. And so there's a discrepancy between what renders the far terrain, which is what this is based on, and what renders the local terrain. So that's something I have to track down and fix. But anyway, it's a fun little thing to have like all these things generated, and so I can go and find different specific worlds that I'm looking for. And because it's using the actual Mythruna code, I could enable it to show me where the towns generate and stuff like that. I left that out because it takes longer, but it can actually, you know, plot the caves and the towns and stuff, which would be kind of cool. I'd like to make a version that would spend longer and, you know, expand it out so that when I zoom in it has a little more detail. But anyway, so what we're trying to do tonight is add variation to the well, first of all, we can go and check off a bunch of these things, right? We did that in the last live stream. We did that. Yeah, I did that. Did all that. I was going to show you the code. Yeah, did that. Yep, did that too. So we basically finished all that. And so we're going to start something new today. So what we want to be able to do is set skin variance. Let's not write it like code. Set skin variance. Set hair variance. And then that'll work eventually for humans, but you know, an animal will either use skin or hair depending on what it is. Some animals may use both because they might have skin and hair, and we might want to set them separately. But what was I going with this? Oh, I was going to show you the script real quick. I'm sorry, I'm flying all over the place. So it ended up being relatively simple. Yeah, other than that bug that I put in, which was just a typo. The build wand, when you stop removing a block, you know, it basically makes sure that you really did remove the block, because potentially rules put it back, right? And then it finds all the parts for that particular type, which is now a built-in method on the substance type index, and it goes through each of those and, you know, changes the substance size counter, and then it sets back to the client what the current block type count is for that particular block type, and it does a similar thing when you place a block. So it's kind of cool. In fact, I probably should not be writing that anymore. And then there's another select type. Okay, I took all of the echoes out of that one. And so here's the show status where it goes through and it builds that big text string that it sends over as a dialog when you pop it up. So anyway, the scripts turned out to be pretty small in the end. I was pretty happy about that. And now I have this new show status capability and a bunch of new markdown markup capabilities for the NPC sent or item sent dialogues, scripted dialogues. Yeah, so see, here's the markdown image tag where it's putting in, you know, an alt text name if it can't find the image, and then the actual path to the image. What it's called if we have tooltips, which I will eventually have if you hover over it, that kind of thing. In fact, if I ever get tooltips, I may take the text out and not show the name so that we can fit more on that page. But all right, so what we're trying to do tonight, let's just write some notes down. Hair color and skin color were hard-coded in the client to directly manipulate materials called hair and skin. Not very flexible. So all the mobs are some kind of rig. So I want to add a rig feature to set variants. Like if you had the rig, you could call set variant. I want to set the hair to variant 2 kind of thing, right? And this could be, what that means is kind of up to the rig. It could mean that, do I want to just make bullets because then I won't have the problem. But that means it could mean changing the material color, just like hair or whatever. Could mean swapping textures. Like maybe you have entirely different textures you'll load in. Or it could mean setting different texture atlas config, right? Like you have all of your different skin variants in one big texture and you just want to select which part of it is. It could mean swapping out child models. Like if you have different hairstyles, perhaps you just swap out the models rather than just changing the hair color. At any rate, there's just, you know, really anything, right? There could be, so what I wanted to do is add to the rig this idea of a sort of variant handler that you could register with the rigs to say, you know, do something if, you know, you call set variant and some string. And this would happen at runtime, and it would otherwise intercept the similar things like the hair and skin color, but then call these variants, right? Trickier than it sounds because we want it to be so flexible. Ideally, we'd be able to use scripting. Scripts to keep it flexible. And the problem here is that Rigger writes out a binary, Rigger the tool, writes out a binary that the engine loads, and so it's not easy to hook scripts into that, easy to hook objects. It's basically using Java's serialization to write that out. So what we need bullets. Support in Rigger for scripted initializers. Actually, we need that. Just eval the material name as a script. Ha ha ha. Yeah, right. So we need support in Rigger scripted, but we need support in the rig. rig type for script for initializers in general. So this is stuff I worked out already, right? And then initializer scripts that's set up. We need support in rig type and rig shape for variant handlers. And the initializer scripts that set up the variant handlers to do what we want. And I could have just hard-coded, I could have made some Java classes that were the initializers that did what I wanted, and probably in a fairly general way, especially since what I want for the butterfly is just reset, what Atlas location it's pulling from. But I wanted to make something general because there's going to be a point where I reset, shape keys and different things for different variants, and it'd just be easier if I went ahead and added this kind of capability in. So we need to do that. I've added this. This is done. This in progress right now. That's what I was working on that I broke things. So then once I get the scripts running, and ideally support in the rigger tool for testing variants. We're not going to get that done tonight. I thought maybe I could, but the rigger is hacked together. It doesn't actually use a real rig. It loads the model directly and just manipulates it, so it's not loading the model the same way that Mythruna does, and so none of these initializers will work like that. What I need to do is add a new tab that's like the rig tester tab. Anyway, so we got the script copying. Was it model animals? Butterfly rig setup. Yep. I don't think it ran, but we could. Problem is, like, I only gave it minimal bindings. Oh, you know what? I stubbed all that out. Yeah. That's the way. Because, see, the thing is, it's going to try to run that when it... Okay, I'll show you. So we've got kind of the thing. And maybe... Alright. I really wanted to kind of get to making graphics, but... So let's go in. Because I stubbed all that out. Excuse me. The rigger tool, when it saves a rig, is that where does it save it in here? Yeah, save rig type. It loads it again to see if it will work, and it's during that process that it fails to run, because basically when it loads the rig, it's going to try to run those initializers, and it will fail. Is that true? Before I go making assumptions, let's put the code back in that broke. And okay, so that should work, but I think I'm going to have to make it customizable where it finds these. It's a problem with loading resources is exactly what I want in the game, but it's not necessarily the best thing for tools and such, because we might want to resolve them at runtime, from files on the file system. And that is the case here as well. So let's try running the rigger. Hopefully this won't take too long. We've got a lot of other wiring to do that has nothing to do with this. Alright, Open the butterfly. Butterfly, butterfly. And then we'll compile it. It should fail. Oh. Oh! Oh, because we had already copied the script. Ah. It didn't work before because the copying wasn't working. Oh, neat. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Whoa, that means that, so like I was talking about, it'd be nice to add like a test tab here that puts you in kind of like where you're actually loading it like the game does. Movement doesn't do it either, of course, now that I've done that. Okay. So what that means, let me just double check that the things are happening in the right order by where did my script go? There it is. So it's live. No, seriously. So if I do this and things are happening in the right order, I should be able to call compile binary and we should get the updated version. Nope. Okay. But if I run it again, no. Maybe it didn't really update the... Let's check. Source, main, resources, animals, butterfly, rig setup.groovy. No, it did. It wrote the new one. But for whatever reason... The object caches it, but it should be reloading that object. No matter. Well, so what my concern is that, like, if we didn't have this here, so let's say I deleted it, right, and then I ran again, my fear is that we'll fail the first time. I could have just looked at the code, really, right? But the code doesn't lie. It can be misinterpreted, but it doesn't lie. So is this going to fail? Yeah, okay. So things are happening coolly. Oh, yeah, so... but not in the right order. So... right to there. Alright, so let's check it out. Perhaps it's just a reordering problem. So rig view state, I think is where I want to be. Save rig type save model. Oh, okay, so it's here that it reloads it. The save rig type, get rig type. Okay, so it's actually here where we're going to want to copy things. Except for these, put it in two different places. Yeah, because we're going to want them on the client and the server. So whenever it saves one of these source main resources, there's a there's the rigs version, which are these RT files, and they're meant to be loaded on the server. You see how small that is. It's just 18K, whereas because it's basically the Gafin's 48K. It's stripped down. It doesn't have any of the actual mesh data in there. Whereas you can see that the butterfly rig.j30, the actual JMonkey engine scene file, is 49K. And this is actually where we want to really load the stuff. But we're going to need the script available in both places. Or no, we really only need it. Alright. So let's make a copy initialization script. And I'm going to change that name. Rig type init scripts. Eliminate any chance of typo. And then source root we got from here. Alright, we're going to want this. We're going to pass it in. Boink, 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 boink. Okay. Excuse me. Alright. Everybody else can come right from here. I think that is okay. Then we can come up here. Save the rig type. Copy the type init scripts. And we install. Wow, 5 viewers according to YouTube. Welcome, welcome. Hopefully we looking at pretty things in a second. Gradle run rigger. I may go ahead and make the graphics so we have something to play with, but maybe I'll do it with multiple textures at first. Anyway, because then we don't have to mess with shaders. Okay, compile binary. Whoa, no. Oh, I know what's wrong. So it's the same problem. The issue is that it could load the resource before because it had been compiled into the resources. Like the jar that this thing is running. So that's why. And so I really do need to make a configurable resource resolver. So here's how you do it. So we're gonna do static. Let's do after. So static. Make it a function. Java util function takes a string, returns a string, resource resolver, and by default it's going to do what the current cannot type today. Good times, good times. It's going to be doing what this is doing. And boink, boink, boink. Okay, so that's existing behavior. And we got to change some names to protect the innocent here. So blah, 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 resource, blah, blah, blah. And we just return it. Blah, blah, blah. All right. And then script equals resource resolver. Is it apply? Is it apply? I think it's apply. Problem is I've used quite a few function libraries, and I can never remember which one's which. Anyway, the compiler will tell us. And so then we want to be able to public static void set resource resolver. And go like this. Or that. Oh, yeah. So we can do this. Okay, so now we can override the existing resources resolver and actually, yep, that's what we want. So we have to install that. And probably I messed up a bunch of things. You guys were yelling at the screen. Missing return statement. Return script. Okay, so if we're going to do it this way, let's just do it like that. All right, so now we should be able to modify the z-rigger to, let's just set it up here. No, we're going to want to set it every time we set a new rig. Except for it's not based on the rig. It's based on animals, butterfly. Yeah, so we want, yeah, okay. We are going to cheat and sorry, I'm thinking about 5 different things at once here. Groovy rig type initializer. So we want to do this and this and name this boink. And do we already have files? Yes. So I think we just want to use files to turn this into a string. Is that the one? To string, yes. So return files to string. And so we'll make a file. File equals new file. We're going to cheat. We're going to say source main resources. And oops, name. I think it'll let me do this. And then file. I think we can say caresets.utf8. Alright, let's see if it will let me compile that. Oh, of course. Well, I got that far at least. Try exception. Throw. Yeah. Boilerplate, boilerplate. Checked exceptions are so fun. Alright. Ah! Progress. Alright, see if it runs. Yep. So, in the first hour, we'll have gotten the tooling working. And showed you what I did last week, basically, or the past week. So let's do the same, but it'll work. Compile binary. Whoa! File not found exception. Source main. Oh, because it hasn't copied it yet. Hey, Oak, how's it going? We actually want to... No, that's exactly where we want to get it. Source main resources animals. So it hasn't copied it yet. Where are we running this? So hey, did you have a good week, Oak? So we're running this from rig view state, save rig type, line 164. So maybe we want to copy the rig scripts first. Make sure the directory's created, because this is getting the rig type. Who gets the rig type here? Nobody. And the one's called before the other, so should be okay. Alright, let's do some graphics here in a minute. So get this working. Then we'll know what we're working towards. Wife spent the... Oh, no! Oh! Oh, no. No poop. I've had many, many bad years. I mean, I spent the weekend in and out of the hospital. Not me, but visiting my wife. A couple weekends ago, and she's still having seizures every day. Only now they're not calling them seizures, but that's what they are. No, seriously, yay, it's working, and it should now let me update it at runtime. Where to go? Really. Alright, so we should be able to say compile binary again. Really. Okay, cool. Alright. Now, let us fix some stuff, because we're 100% guaranteed to want to be able to log. So, we will get a logger and put it in the bindings, so that we can log things from our scripts. There's like just some things you learn after a while. That you're going to want. So what we want to do is we want to call this rig type initializer dot script resource. And so if I do this, well, I hope things improve. That does sound bad. Mini strokes are not good. Has she maintained mobility? Has it caused permanent damage? Strokes, anything with the brain is bad news. like, since this has all started, you know, they say they've, you know, taken like a golf ball's worth of stuff out of my wife's brain, and I just think it's amazing. Well, every time someone goes in for brain surgery, there's always the chance they come out a completely different person, right? That they removed the part of the brain that made them them. It's really scary. So, testing 1, 2, 3. All right. So if we open the rig, and so I'm amazed that you can pull that much out of somebody's brain and have them still function as a human being, let alone still be the same person, really. Okay, so it's funny. Oh, because of the dot groovy. That's not really what I want. Yeah. Well, that's good at least, I guess. But it's, like, I guess scary why they're happening. Bear with me for a second, guys, because I really want this to be script resource if log name ends with .groovy, log name equals log name .substring 0. Oh, nope. Yes. 0 comma log name dot length minus dot groovy dot length. Hey Cassidy, hasn't been that long. Weren't you on last week? How's the coding go? It's going okay. I went back through the whole status of all the. I've got a lot done this week. Oh. That's terrifying, my dude. Oh my god. That is terrifying. Yeah, because at that point you don't know. And even if they clear themselves on their own, I guess those mini strokes can cause permanent damage depending on how long it took them to clear. Oh gosh, scary, man. Nothing bad should happen to Mythruna fans. That should be the way it works. Okay. Groovy, no. Why though? I'm gonna finish this out because I'm like engaged. Oh, because I didn't use the log name. I'm like engaged in this conversation now. I'm concerned. For those of you who don't know, Oakstorm is one of the longtime Mythruna users from way back in the day, I guess. My recollection. Unless I'm greatly mistaken. I even remember some of the structures he built. Oh, so butterfly rig setup. Yep, good, we got it. Okay, so that's all good and going, and now we can do like the real work that we came here to do. Funny that. Okay, so let's do some fun stuff in Photoshop. Well, Photopia. Let me find my Mythruna model set. Those old screenshots. Did I keep the animals? There it is. Butterfly.psd. I'm awesome. Look at that. Ha ha ha. Okay. So the idea here is that I want to make a version of this that's got, well, I'm just going to make another variant for now. Hold on. Nice. On V1 was the Skull Tower. Were you also the one that made an airship? There was some user that, like, I remember made like an airship based on like the drawings that I'd done or something. But I mean, I could be thinking of somebody else. The names are always changing. Yep. Okay. Yeah, next to the tower. That's right. Cool. Yeah. I was telling my wife about some of the creatures that, so back on the subject of creatures, I was telling my wife about some of the creatures that Mythruna is going to have, and I don't think they're that big a deal, but she says she's going to have nightmares now. So, I was talking about when I was a kid growing up in Florida. Well, I didn't grow up in Florida. I lived there for a couple of years, and my grandma lived there. So I lived there off and on in Pensacola, Florida, for like a year when I was around 5, and then a year when I was, not quite a year, maybe half a year when I was 9. And in the sand there, like about the size of your thumb as an adult, there's these little cones, inverted cones, and we call them antlions. I don't know what they actually are, but they live down in there, and they like kill the bugs that fall down into the thing. And so, like, I was explaining this to my wife, and she was horrified that such a thing exists. And I was talking about making the big versions for Mythruna, and she was not happy about that. But all right, so I want to make a just different version of. Yeah, okay, so antlions, yeah. I probably should read more about them, but when I was a kid, we used to play with them, right? We'd take a pine needle or something and like touch their little cone to knock the sand down, and we'd see them like try to like knock whatever down was there. Yeah, so we'd watch and see if ants crawled in there or whatever. Okay, so I think, yeah, for now we're just going to make 2 different textures so that we can see something happen. Yeah, see, I originally tried to make like a yeah, where I could set the color. Anyway, this is going to be so much better, so much more flexible. But eventually I'm going to make an atlas, and probably 4x4 with different butterfly variants, and I can have, because of the way, so this is the actual I know this is the actual polygons that are used, and so like I can have wings of different shape even within those polygon shapes or something like that. Anyway, so for now, let me just do something cheap. We'll take this butterfly PNG and mess with its colors. What do I want to do? Auto adjustments. That's what I want. Hue saturation. We're going to change the hue. Ooh. Actually, that's kind of cool looking. Yeah, I like it. That'll be one of the ones I put in the atlas. Okay. Alright. And so we will save this as, export as PNG butterfly 2. Man, I'm using a 256 by 256 size PNG for my butterfly textures. That's going to have to change, I think. You never get that close to them. I've got some of the Mythruna block textures are only 128 by 128, so we have like 4 times as many pixels for the butterfly that lands on the grass. Okay, so now we have 2 of those. Source, main, blender, animals, butterfly. Did I give it its own directory? Nope. So butterfly 2. Oh, I didn't save that to the correct location. Where did I save it? That is the one almost most infuriating part of using a web tool to do this is that, yeah, is it like, I think Windows, not just Windows, Linux, any of these GUI operating systems, most of the time, if I'm going to save something, it's saving it to the wrong directory, right? But it's somehow even worse when you're doing it from a web application, because it has no ability to remember last time you used the application or any of that stuff. So it's resources, animals. Yeah, we'll save it here. And so it's, particularly frustrating, and it just picks random places sometimes, it feels like. But anyway, regarding the antlions, it was something that when I started to think about it, it occurred to me that there are probably, there's nothing like that around Virginia, and probably a good deal of the country does not have antlions, and so that's like a unique thing to growing up in a place that has that kind of sandy dirt texture. Because my wife, who grew up in South Dakota, never heard of them. I'm not sure she would have necessarily. Okay, so we have a new texture. Now we need a way to set it. So now we've got to do all of the other work. All right. We have a way of initializing things at runtime. I can confirm real quick that that works by loading up the world real quick. I can also really quickly confirm. I can also really quickly do two things. One is I'll load up the desert I was talking about. I think this is even the one where I gave my character a quote-unquote desert costume. You'll see. Come on. Load your scripts. So Genie, that should be a clue. I've been waffling on what the immediate next steps should be. I'd like to do more with creatures. That's why we're doing this. But there's also a couple other things on my list that I'd really like to take care of. One of them is be nice to have hats. Okay, so she's got her, I Dream of Genie outfit, sort of, right? So I just thought it was funny. But so we can also check to make sure that the wand is working like it's supposed to. Like I fixed that one problem. So let's go to iron, select. So I've got no irons. I should be able to place one though. Boink. Yep. And did not get an error this time. And if I pick it up, oh no, I did get an error. Whoa! It did not fix the problem. No such. Oh, self. Okay. Build 156. So I'm just going to fix these bugs as I find them because there's no way I'll remember to come back and do this. So self is not going to work. It is target. I cut and pasted this from the other stuff. Okay, so chances are I didn't really fix so I didn't really fix that, but we'll test it again later. So anyway, this is the desert world. Deserts look cooler near sunset and sunrise, right? Because you get like the real textures. During the day, they're so bright, and eventually I'll add some kind of blur. Let's see, can I land right on top of that? Oh. Nope, I missed it just by a little. Alright, well, this is good enough. So that's a problem, right, with the generation is like you get this straight line where the climate fractal just sort of cuts off. So I need to add some variation to the climate fractal. Unfortunately, that makes it slower. But this is a desert, and if we back up time a little bit, Like, see, like that's the golden hour. Deserts look really cool, but it's just like sand as far as the eye can see. And so it should be, if I have my way, it should be really hard to survive. Yeah, so I can close this and leave the rest open. It should be really hard to survive crossing this without proper supplies or really good survival skills. That's the goal, that this sort of desert is treacherous, right? Just like the jungles, I want them to be a certain level of treacherous. If you're far away from civilization out in the middle of the jungle, there's going to be like hundreds of things that could kill you. Disease, maybe even disease if I get that far right. That'd be cool. But I like the idea of having to be the prepared adventurer. Anyway, so what we really wanted to see was, I think I can just grep for really. Oh, but you know what? The problem with that is that world did not have any butterflies. So I don't know if it would have actually loaded the oh, and that's no, it'd be testing. Yeah. So after all that, we will get to test the build one. I need to find a place that will actually load butterflies in order to test the butterfly loading without having to place one down. All right. So let's go to our standard, this one. I think that's the one that I normally test with way back in the day. We should find a lot of objects scattered around. I should have 2 inventories. So that's the other new thing. If I was to continue down the resource gathering path, the next thing would be to fix inventory so that you could pick things up, like you could pick flowers and have stacks of them in your inventory. Because the build wand destroys things, right? The originals are not there anymore, and eventually that will be true. You can collect flora in the raw sense, but you wouldn't be able to reconstitute flowers and things. You'd have to go find them. So you need to be able to pick them and keep them in your inventory, and need stacks and potentially different bags for keeping different kinds of stuff. Oh, I can show you my library. So, so I started, one of the core things in Mythruna is that the Simian race creates libraries, and that's sort of one of the ways that towns connect, other than the Circle of Guilds, which runs like sort of the governments, or they may let the people rule on their own, but they ultimately control everything, is the Circle of Guilds. The Simians will build libraries, and every library is connected to other libraries through some kind of portaling. I don't know how much it'll cost to use it, but or whether you probably have to visit there first. I don't know how that's going to work exactly, but I wanted to model what a town library would look like. A city library is going to be much bigger, but I wanted something compact. Paul, how far has the game got since last time I was in stream months ago? I thought you were on last week. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. I did make a release at the beginning of the month. Okay, so this is the idea, and then there would be potentially partitions of bookshelves and rooms and things, and some kind of statue in the middle. But I wanted something open and light because you're going to be reading in here, right? And then sort of these stairs to take you up, and so there'd be other reading rooms and bookshelves and things up here. And it's set up procedurally so I could swap out different sections for different things, and I could make it as tall as I want. And I could go up on the roof, and there could be potentially science experiments and things going on up there, because the Simians are the most intelligent creatures in Mythruna, smarter than humans. And so down here would be sort of like library storage, and this is where the teleportation. The idea is that even if you can't afford to teleport yourself, and maybe some libraries aren't equipped to do that, the idea would be that you could teleport items and things, or you could keep them in the library and they would be available at other libraries, kind of thing, for maybe a fee. I don't know how it was going to work, but that's the idea. Lore-wise, simians build the libraries and they're connected through spirit portals so that you can transfer things from library to library to some amount of distance. All right, so we've got butterflies this time. I should be able to see if that thing worked. Oh, I could have tested the build ones too. Oh well. Huh. Is it testing 1, 2, 3? Testing. Yeah. So what if we grep butterfly? I know I saw butterflies flying around. Huh. Let's see, grep, Kilroy. See if I left any Kilroy logs. I did not. So let's make sure. And let's also grep error. Maybe it failed to load. Nope. But we could also do an error log here. Alright, so let's run again. We always get caught up in the mechanics. So we butterfly and we compile the binary. And this logged all the things and saved them. And then if we look, source, there's source main resources animals, we should have the script there. It should be the correct script. It is. And then what I'll do this time is specifically place a butterfly so we can see it happen. And maybe I'll go somewhere. That's what I should. I could have done that in the desert. In fact, let's go back to the desert. Yeah, you can see I was exploring each of the different. I spent several hours on Sunday, I think it was, exploring different worlds. When there's actually things to do, I'm going to be in trouble because I enjoy playing the game when there's nothing to do. Alright, so let's go back and play Genie. Pepsi made it almost 1.5 hours. I keep hoping when this is done that things will go faster. We are very high up. Okay, so let's go back over here where there's sort of semi. Yeah, I'm like flying at super speed. Alright, so first of all, let me test the build wand change real quick. What was I testing with iron before? Select iron, remove iron. Yay! Okay, so the build wand's working, and now we can. Let's go over here to the dirt. Near this tower. Okay. So let's make a butterfly and see what happens in the log when I do that. Uh-oh. So we loaded the rig right there. And it did not run anything. Because it was deserialized and not instantiated. So I had a feeling this was going to be an issue for me. But fortunately, the fix is relatively straightforward. But man, I cannot believe I started early to get all of this set up. Okay, so then we will need to keep track of the initializers. So the issue is that when we run this, when we load this as a serializable, this constructor is not called. And so let's put so we're going to make it so that you can call this as many times as you want, but it will only initialize once because it gets loaded and then this create shape is called, and we call create shape a bunch of times for the same particular rig. So we load the butterfly rig once and then we create shapes from it. So this dot initialized equals true. We are initialized. So let's just log info initialize. So at least we'll be able to see that. If this seems like a lot that I keep track of in my head, you are not wrong. It's a lot. A lot of code. Complicated game. Ambitious project. Okay. Continue the last world. And we wait. I keep trying to think of an easy way to speed that up. The problem is it's running all those groovy scripts. And they do a not insubstantial amount of work to set themselves up. Plus there's a whole runtime compiling aspect of that. Alright. So there should still be a butterfly. Whoa, what's going on? Oh yeah, I had the sphere selected. Ooh. Oh boy. What's going on here? Yeah, so what the heck? Oh. Oh no, things are failing to load is what's going on here. Right? Something went very badly. This initializers is null. Okay. So when I change that to actually have its own field, I need to resave the binary. Rutrow, indeed. Yeah. So those spatial rigs were all loading with null as their initializers. In fact, or we should probably defensive coding would have been to check that, and I will add that in a second. So open the rig, open the butterfly. We compile the butterfly. Butterfly compiles, really. Kilroy. All right, and then just in case, if initializers not equal to null, though, you know what? It should never be null. It should never be null. And so by doing this, like I can see it. If I, yeah, okay. The problem is that we have to wait for the world to load again. So I needed to like create a topic of discussion. But yeah, when I was telling my wife about the ant lions, I was talking about adding spiders to Mythruna, and so that was already creeping her out. And then I talked about I think she said that's going to give her nightmares. I mean, if you imagine an ant lion the size of a car or whatever, that's probably pretty significant. Maybe not that big. Another vote against spiders. Alright. So are we a big red ball again? Yes, we are. Ah, son of a bitch. Can't invoke iterator because this initializer is null. Oh, for all of the other ones. Yeah, we're going to put that defensive code in because the butterfly was probably the only thing that did load. I would have to save all of the others. So what I'll do is this, and I'll at least log a warning. Log warn rig has no initializers. I don't know what this is. That's the best I can do, really. All right, so we recompile. Would be interesting to mix the concept of an antlion and a trapdoor spider. Yeah, that's the idea. So that's why this topic of spiders came up. And spoiler alert, the idea is that there's a sort of classification of creature in Mythruna called a mimic spider, and that they can't change their look, but they basically are well camouflaged. And so you might have tree spiders that hang out in the trees, and they are colored like twigs and leaves, so they blend in really well. And so then I was thinking it'd be cool to have ones that were like colored like sand, that kind of hang out in the desert, and then taking that to its logical conclusion, it could be really big and make those little antlion style divots and hide on the bottom. But I was thinking, at some point it becomes a little cheap just to keep reskinning the same creature, though this is why we're working on this reskinning for the butterflies, because eventually that works for all kinds of things. But then I was thinking, well, the antlion, for that, it may be better to have it be kind of like a cross between a basically like a scorpion with no tail kind of thing, so it would have like almost like a crab, right? A sand crab. But I don't know. Oh, okay, so we placed a gafe, and everybody's working again. Yay! The butterflies are working. And they were trying to run my stuff. This is the wrong place for a butterfly. Ain't no flowers or nothing around here. Okay. Let's, client, grep, Kilroy, Mythruna, log. It did not run my scripts. It tried. It ran them. The Gafin's pushing me along. Um, yeah, yeah. But, yeah, it depends on how good the spiders look and whether I can make them big. Um, but yeah, the Mythruna deserts are going to be sort of large insect based, or large. What's the term for that covers both insects and arthropods, spiders? Um, Exoskeleton. There we go. Invertebrate exoskeleton type creatures in the desert. Even like the pack animals and stuff. Big beetles. Why? So we want to look for is actually butterfly dot rig. Okay, so butterfly dot rig groovy initialize. So it did do that. Initialize. So it did call initialize, and it did load the scripting engine. So why didn't it run the script? Alright, we gotta do more. But, like, in Mythruna, I want to try to use variation mostly to sort of randomize the same types of creatures and not to stand in as other creatures. Though it is pretty typical to have regular, house cat sized spiders in RPGs and then also have, giant car sized spiders depending on where you are. So perhaps it's fine. And I do like the idea of a spider hanging out in the bottom of a pit. Like, I like the trapdoor spiders. I think they're really cool. Alright. Frick. I mean, we are just, it just bugs me that, I'm spending so much time doing the stuff that doesn't really matter. I mean, it's important, but like it's not very exciting, I guess. I really wanted to get to the graphics. Yeah, why aren't you running the script? Log. Let's go ahead and make it really big and ugly. Yeah. And the from a game design perspective, the sort of the fact that culturally we all have this built-in aversion to spiders and things is it's convenient to tap into. There's also, I think my next creature is going to be the Grue lizards, though, because that's sort of a I like the callback to Zork. You know, if you're in the dark, you get eaten by a Grue. So the idea that there's these all black lizards that crawl around at night, you know, sizable alligator-sized black lizards that come out at night and crawl around, give you a nice hiss from behind. It ties in a bunch of tropes. But you guys who've waited this far into the video get all these secrets. But yeah, I almost started modeling the Grue lizard the other day. Alright. So it's grep, groovy, Grubu, groovy, log, engine. It's not actually being run. It's being accessed. So it accessed it because it loaded it. But for whatever reason, did I not call initialize from the spatial rig type? I call initialize. Initializers. I can't help feeling like it's something dumb. Grep spatial rig type. Some of them do, but some of them don't. And can I just say get asset key? Log info running knit. Alright. Is there any way? Huh. It's possible this was never run. And I wonder if this is going to work at all. Like yeah, because we may be accessing the animation composer directly. This could be problematic, actually. I bet this is what it is, though. And so we're going to have to add a control. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Except for attachment control knows who we are. We could potentially get the... So wiring this up is tricky because of how the rig and the spatial relationship is. So we save the spatial with all of its controls, but we don't save the rig with it. The rig is for the server. And then on the client, I think... let me look up the character animation state. Do we get a rig here? See, we do, but we I think create it directly. Model, get character rig. Model is the rig model. Rig model was created by the rig model factory. And so, right, rig model, get character rig, and character rig is anim composer rig create rig. Yeah, so we created a rig special. We don't actually have what we need to do what we want to do where we want to do it. Without creating another stupid control. But that's neither here nor there. I mean, that is the next step. But this should at least get the script to run. And what is it that they want here? Spatial. God, I cannot believe we wasted so much time on this issue. It's always the wiring. Get key. Alright. So not here. So spatial rig type, initialize, get key. And what I need to do is, like, I have this attachment control. I'm going to need to make a variant control as well. And then in anim composer rig, well, maybe this will be enough. Yeah, attachment control, attachments. So technically I could get what I need from there. Maybe it's not so bad. And we could make it no, I don't want to have to load the rig. The thing is, the rig, it's got to be there because it's got the attachment control. And it's calling this attachment control at this. We have the, okay. Alright, let's try again. But yeah, I hate wasps. I actually don't mind spiders as long as they stay out of my way. We have a sort of live and let live policy in my house, and I'm more likely to take a spider outside. All other bugs that I find in the house go in the toilet. But a spider, I'm likely to catch and release, depending on how bold they are. Like, if I'm sitting here working and one drops down on a spider web right in front of my face, he's probably going in the toilet. He or she. But otherwise, I feel like they're helping me out because they're killing other bugs. In fact, I had one living, I think I talked about this before, I had one living up in the corner of my window up here. It was like my own little National Geographic special, as I found him like wrapping up stink bugs and stuff. He was my buddy. And he's not there anymore. That was a long time ago. Alright. What we got going on? Spatial rig type. Okay. Okay, so we've got initializers there run. We like the jumpers running around inside. Nice. Alright, so let's see if we got some Kilroys. We did not! Ugh, so frustrating. How is it? How? You guys, like, how? So, this is interesting. Because initialize is called, it's never called, it is, it's even called in the, on the client. But for some reason, it is not logging initializers. We're not initialized yet. Oh no. Oh no. It saved the initialized state from the tool. Son of a bitch. The dangers of serialization. So initialized is something I want to keep track of at runtime. But because the rigger ran those scripts, it had already initialized. And so that state was saved. I'm not going to go as far as to say this is the problem. It is definitely a problem, but I'm not confident enough by now. Okay, so should have saved with no initialized now. Son of a bitch. It's always something dumb. I tracked down, it only took me a half hour to track down at day job, but I was doing database spatial queries and I couldn't figure out why polygon intersection queries were working, but my circle queries were not, and the circles get translated into approximate polygons. So it made no sense to me, and I got all the way down to dumping the SQL queries before I realized, by looking at the SQL queries, of course, that there was a place where I had passed longitude and longitude instead of longitude and latitude. So I was looking at a place that does not actually exist on Earth. It was good times. But that was the point I quit for the day, because I was like, yep, time to take my coding keys away. And this is similar. Very similar. Okay, will we find Kilroy? Did we spend all stupid live stream? We did. Yay! It's running my script. Oh, son of a bitch. That's awful. And so now there's 4 minutes left in the live stream. I basically did nothing other than make a graphic. Yeah, it's just such a waste, man. Like my birthday was on Wednesday, yeah. But Wednesdays aren't good for celebrating birthdays, so we're celebrating it tomorrow. Otherwise, I would do a live stream tomorrow because this is so frustrating. If nothing else, I'm all set up to work on the next thing, and I can talk about what that is real quickly. What I want to be able to do is have these, like from a rig, you can set the mix, you can set the thing, blah, blah, blah. I want to be able to call set variant. Oh, thanks. Type index. I want to be able to do that. And probably somebody's going to want to be able to grab the current one, right? And so that's what I need to implement. And to do that, I need like the ability to set up these variant handlers, and I have an example of what one should look like. Oh, maybe I called it variation. I think I like that better. Or variant works. Character rig. So set variant type. Maybe say variation. I'm less likely to misspell. Like I did there. So then it's up to the rig to decide how it wants to handle those. And so in here, I was going to make these sort of that you could load up into the rig. Actually, that's right. By the way, this code that I'm looking at is all part of the open source stuff. So, oh yeah. So this should return true or false on whether it actually set something. But so then there would be, in the spatial rig type, there would be a map of these things that's also transient because it's set up at runtime so that we can run those initializer scripts and set them up. And all of this is because I wanted to have scripts do it instead of just objects hard-coded to do a particular type of thing. So I made my own problems, basically, by wanting some flexibility. But so this part, the idea would be that it would go fairly quickly. And so then that would be shared among all of the shapes. And actually I'll probably put them in a control. And then, you know, basically all these rig shape implementations need to be able to implement that particular method. And so in here, probably, yeah, so private map string integer variation values. Let's do hash map. Just to keep track of the existing values. You know what, I'm just gonna not worry about that. And so when we animation controller rig calls, this is not the only anim composer shape, is the rig shape. Extends rig shape, this thing, and it implements character rig. So if I started like recompiling, I'm going to see like all of the places that don't implement. Yeah, so both of those things need to implement these new methods. Blank. So anim composer rig will need to. So we'll just throw new unsupported operation exception just to stub them out. And this one too. So the delegate is the character rig. So actually for these we actually can implement them. Return delegate set variation. That's nice. So I only have to implement it in one place. And return delegate.get variation. So did we get it all hooked up? Okay. And so then I only have to implement this in one place, but I got to make sure that it has the variant handlers and probably keeps track of the existing values. So we could do, like I started to do before, integer variant variation values. Keep track of what is already set. And I could cheat. Attachment control is going to have a spatial rig type. Spatial rig type has the variation map. We could make some set variation handler string type variation handler. What do I call it? Variation map. Let's call it variation handlers. Whoops, I think yep, that's what I thought. I didn't control insert, oops, there we go. Put type handler. Oh. Because that's transient, it's not going to instantiate one. So we get one, we can variation handler get variation handler string type. Basically, I may just take a few minutes to show you that if I had gotten all that other stuff working, the rest of it would have gone a lot smoother. Okay, and then temporarily protected. So protected in Java is also package friendly, which means any other class in this package can get at this, but this is not really the way you want to do it. For what I'm doing, it's just the closest, the quickest. So nm composer rig. So down here, we want to what do I call them? Variation values. Variation values put type kind of index if existing is not equal to null and existing equals index, return false. We didn't set it. Otherwise we did set it, and we can variation handler equals attachments dot get rig type dot get variation handler type, if return, hey, how was Costco? Let's so handler equals null, log var no handler for type. I'm going to consider that a warning and return false. Otherwise, handler.set variation type, index, and we pass the type because then I can use I could potentially have the same variation handler handle multiple things like hair and skin. That's what it is, right? Set variation type. Oh. Maybe I want to wow. Cool. Yeah, I haven't been to Costco. I mean, I haven't been to Costco ever, but we have BJ's around here also. And I haven't been there as well for a long time. Set variation type. For here, integer int value existing equals variation values dot get type return existing equals null -1 or existing. Okay, so we've hooked everything up. It should compile. Okay. Now I should be able to say how to verify this is working. So what we want to do, let's implement something. So rig type dot set variation handler skin, and variation handler takes a, what did crap. It needs more than that. It needs, yeah, it's spatial specific. So we'll do rig type, or we'll say we'll get everything we want from the anim composer rig. Right. So from there we can get the spatial, I think. We don't have the spatial. we can get it. Or we can just pass it. But this works too, and that'll be fine. So variation handler, animation rig, okay. So these are specific to this particular type of object. So that should still compile, unless I did something really dumb. Okay, so this is what we're trying to implement in the Groovy side. Oh. I don't need to do this because I'm implementing that. That's not a handler that's handling that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted this to be as close to a function as possible. Okay, so up here, we want to make a closure that takes the rig, the name, and the index. Okay? And we are going to log info set variation set skin variation name index for rig. And so for rig we could also anim composer spatial just to prove that it's really there. Spatial. Okay, that means we could get the material, we could swap out textures and stuff like that. So we need to, oops, we need to run the rigger just so that we can, oops. Technically I could just edit the script directly in the model resources. Or copy it. I don't necessarily have to do this, but it's safer. Especially since I changed the class. Butterfly. Come on, my butterfly. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, hello. Hello. Alright. Line 20. What is line 20? Oh. Oh yeah. Womp womp. Womp womp womp. Compile binary. Oh no! No spatial set variation handler on spatial rig types. Oh. No. Set type string closure. Yeah, it's supposed to be able to coerce but because like I'm supposed to be able to say crap, now I gotta like import stuff. crig jme star. Let's go ahead and import crig while we're here, because I'm supposed to be able to do right, like I'm supposed to be able to coerce these into like this should work. Even Java would be able to do that, my dudes. Okay, I don't need to recompile that, but it doesn't hurt. And maybe let's just do that just in case. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. And then Gradle run rigger. Let's try again. Problem is I don't see myself up in the upper right, so I don't even know if I'm still in frame. Hey, it worked that time. So yeah, it just wouldn't automatically coerce it, but if I did like that, it'll coerce it. Okay. Okay. All right, so then what we need is just a hack for now on the client side when we load the model. So rig model, we get the character rig. Where do we set the character rig? Down here, we already found that. Character rig. So let's just hack something in for now, and that's where I put them out at the margin right here because I'm more likely to notice them. Set variation skin 42. Right. The answer of life to life, the universe, and everything. Okay, so we should run. Now we gotta wait for the world to load to see if this worked. Wonder if my butterflies disappeared yet. But if this works, it should be only a few script hops to have it use the different texture. And then we can at least prove it's working. And then the rest is, you know, adding components and hooking up shape names and things. But like I've already done for skin color and... But I want to see the different butterfly. And that'll be a good place to stop. Who's been watching Blue Eye Samurai? Have you guys watched that already? I watched the second to last episode last night, and oh, that was some good television. Alright, so where's my butterfly? Did he fly away? So here's a trick for you kids at home. If you go in here and you turn on the debug text, it makes the things a lot more obvious. So we do not have a butterfly anymore. Let's make a butterfly. Whoa! Hey! It did something. Anyway, Blue Eye Samurai on Netflix. Highly recommend. And I invoke Boolean value because return of blah blah blah. Oh yeah. It ran my script and there's an error in my script. And so I'm going to cheat now. And we got this one here. See, there's an error here. I'm not returning true or false or otherwise. But for now, rather than run the rigger every time, I am going to just make sure to make the change in both places. Okay, so we should be able to just run again. Anyway, Blue Eye Samurai, I highly recommend. Second to last episode made me feel the feels. I might watch the last one tonight. I might save it. Problem is it's already late, so I probably will just watch YouTube or something. Splattercat Gaming or... It did not crash. There's... Okay, we can't see it, but it's there. Okay, so it loaded the butterfly. And it must have run my script because it crashed last time. So, we ought to be able to change the texture of that little creature. But let's check the logs. Grep butterfly through to client.log. Okay, spatial. It has the spatial. Special, so special. So let me copy some stuff from another script. We're actually already near where I need to be. Let's not do that. Let's do this. Source main rigger models. I think human female is the one. Cleanup.groovy. Oh, yeah, I can't actually use that script, this code, because that's like fancy stuff that I added into that particular stuff. So let's try find source dash name star.groovy. Okay. xargs grep scene visitor. Is it? No. Shoot. Alright, so we will use the rigger this time because it will tell us my scripting errors before yeah, so we're not going to do that. We're going to do this and then depth first search, so we can, yeah, depth first search, I believe, new scene graph visitor adapter, and I think it doesn't matter if it's public or not. So let's just see. Nice thing is I can, no, I can't actually. I was gonna say I could just keep running this without rerunning the rigger. But this way we can be a little, interactive at least. Though I could edit the script directly too. Let's try it. So butterfly load, compile binary. Yeah, don't like. Oh yeah, sure. And let's modify this stupid thing so that it doesn't crash, so that we could potentially fix it and reload. Rig view state. Oh, yeah. It is running that from spatial rig type initialize. Yeah. It's gotta crash. Okay, so that's better than running the whole game though. But that's in the loader code. I can't stub that out. It should actually normally fail if it the only thing is it should be running it there too. Okay, so it ran it, and oh, but it's not going to run the variation handler. Shoot. sure. But at least it compiled. So then what do we want to do? Now I can copy some stuff from that other script. Once we're in the realm of having the geometry. Oh, my eyes are swimming. Clean up to groovy. So we visit all the models, we get their materials. Get diffuse map. Base name. Base map. Mat.get diffuse. Is that what it was? Oh, no, get param value, diffuse map. Yeah. All right, and so we are gonna cheat in all kinds of a evil way, because I don't have access to the asset manager. GUI globals. So we're going to tap into the user interface stuff. This is all kinds of hacky. So if base map, oh, first of all, let's log it. Info base map. If butterfly.png equals base map.name. Right, that's similar to this other code. Yep. Then we will say, whoops. We will say mat set texture diffuse map. GUI globals. Get instance dot load texture, and I will double check what the method signature is because I don't want to have to try multiple times. Repeat true, false true. Load texture. Animals, source main resources animals, butterfly2.png, yep. So this is actually probably it's probably got the full path, but so we'll just guess. Load texture false, true. Okay. Let's do this. Because it's just safer. Will at least tell me if I've got. So ultimately what I want is you have the tester where you can set the variance directly in here, and then I could test it. Alright, so it ran it. That's all good, and so we should be able to try it here, and let's see if we end up with an orange butterfly or some error. We'll get closer, but it'd be nice if it just worked, right? After all the other trouble. Do I get that lucky? Just takes so long to load a world. Drum roll, yeah. Long drum roll. Yeah, this part goes quick. Oh boy. Yeah, so something that I didn't like. That's neat. Oh, okay, that's not the real error. The real error is up here. No signature of method depth first search. I really should have. For argument types. Maybe, let me make sure that that's really what that's called. Depth first traversal. And we will just copy that over to here so that we can just run Mythruna directly. Let's try again. New drum roll. Oh, we're down to 2 viewers. We've lost almost everyone. Got the hardcore fans waiting to see if we get orange butterflies. Will it crash? It didn't crash yet. It didn't crash yet. There it goes. Okay, so it waits until... Yeah, it waits until we load the butterfly. Check exception shut. Can I get property name on null object? So let's... well, we should have gotten a log at least. Okay, so this didn't have a diffuse map. Say what? What you talking about, Willis? Material PBR lighting. Oh, PBR. Oh no, we switch it. Do we though? Because no, you know, we need to log the material. And yeah, base map was null, right? Base map was null. And if we'd put a little question mark here, it wouldn't have crashed at least. But I kind of like that it crashed. But let's presume for a moment that I left? No. Butterfly rig. Ah. Ooh. That hurt. Butterfly rescale. Butterfly rig. it does nothing but rescale. So it is still a... Huh. Interesting. So butterflies are still PBR. That's not right, really. If base map equals null, base map equals map get param value. So we'll make it compatible with both. And we were editing this script directly, so we'll have to make sure to transfer all that stuff back. Otherwise, the next time I run the rigger, it's going to overwrite it. Okay, let's try again. Oh my goodness, if we could just get past the stupid errors. We are going to have a problem. So if base map is not equal to null, then do this. Else do this. Problem is, if we set this, it's going to be on the wrong. We need to make it on the same parameter. Excuse me. We need to use the same material parameter. So if we found it on diffuse map, we need to set it on diffuse map. If we found it on base color map, we need to set it on base color map. Let me follow my logic. Base map equals diffuse map. It's just expensive if we fail. We log it. If it's not equal to null, we got it right. So we reset that. If it is null, we check for base color map, which means we're PBR, and we check that and we set that. Okay, let's try again. Please try again. Please try again. Please try again. I'm hungry and thirsty. I want to go do something else. Please work. Dog with a bone, dog with a bone. That's what I need to make. I need to make so the dog can chew on a bone. It already has a mouth that can open and close. I need to make an attachment point to be inside of its mouth. So it can drag things around, like it can grab ropes and things, right? A lab should be able to grab ropes. Anyway, problem for another day. Let's see, are we going to crash? That's better. Didn't crash. It didn't change the texture either. Alright, so let's grep butterfly Mythruna client log. Base map was null. Okay, so it is just butterfly.png. So that was right before. For whatever reason, the name has the path stripped off. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Would have been nice to know that ahead of time, but at least the script isn't crashing anymore. Blah, blah, blah. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. There's a chance that this version might work. There's a chance. And our waiting would have been so worth it because we get to see an orange butterfly instead of a blue butterfly. That was totally worth 2 hours and 40 minutes of streaming time, right? Is my butterfly still around? Well, my body's not here yet. There we go. There's the butterfly. I think he's orange. Is he orange? No! Why are you not orange? It is what it is. Yeah. My whole week's been going like this too. I've spent 3 weeks on a project that shouldn't have taken me so long. Did I do something wrong here? Butterfly.png. Let me just copy it to be sure, and I'll add more logging. I'm running out of ideas, but we'll try it one more time. Let's see. Does this make it look different? Alright, so... yeah, the amount of stupid mistakes I've been making, and the stuff I was working on was really complicated too, and I was doing the complicated parts okay. It was just the stupid mistakes. So log info, set diffuse map to texture, log info, diffuse map. I'm just covering my base here in case I change that later and I don't want to screw myself up. So we'll do this. Okay, so we should have set it, but I'm wondering if this is not even the spatial that's being displayed. No, let's not go down rabbit holes yet. If it doesn't work this time, I'm giving up, and I'll just debug it deeper later, because this is it's too long. We've only got 2 viewers hanging on by their fingernails at this point. But if you look at the upper left corner of the screen, that's where you can download the latest version of game, but you can also join the Discord, and I will definitely post pictures in the Discord when I get this stupid orange butterfly working. Yeah, it's been nice, like socially and so on, that I've had the time. I've been able to work on it for an hour or 2 every night, which is really nice. Okay, did my butterfly hang around? Where'd he go? He's still blue. That's fine. I didn't expect that to change. We're just going to get more information this time. That's right. I didn't expect it to work, so it was fact-finding. Yeah, so here's the thing with Groovy. This is not a string. And so, but it worked, didn't it? It worked over here. Did I do something else dumb? Am I editing the wrong damn script? I'm editing the wrong damn script. Oh my god. It's just one of those stupid frickin' weeks. Oh my god. But that has gotten me before in trouble, that when you put things in double quotes in Groovy, it's a G string, not a real string. And so, like, if you do Java side equals equals, it won't work. Groovy is smart enough to figure it out. I cannot believe I was editing the wrong script. And that was something I needed to watch out for, and I already said it was. Yes, yes, yes. All right. I have at least a modicum of hope. A thimble full of hope that this might work. Let's bump the lights. Where'd the butterfly go? Oh, he's definitely a different color. Oh yeah, look, it's orange. I think that the texture's flipped. Yeah, but it's using the right one. Yeah, the texture's flipped, so it's Y flipped. That's just something that happens. And I can fix that, but that's why it looks like the wings are upside down. But yay! And so what that means is that, not tonight, but what that means is, like in here where I have these character decorators that can, you know, based on different aspects, they can set different things. Like in this, you know, it's setting material things, but I can basically have it based on the skin type, set different skins based on hair type, set different hair, and I can now script what that means to the rig. In this case, it's swapping the texture. What it'd really be, okay, so it already like killed my butterfly. Yeah, so the wings are just upside down, but that's just a texture loading problem. The default is Y up or Y down, and I'm loading it backwards. But it's working, and that's actually a pretty color. I'm going to keep it. Yeah, so the rest is details, and probably important details, but the bulk of it's working. And this opens up all kinds of stuff for, you know, being able to change hairstyles, which I really desperately want to do. I actually want you to well, actually, that gets more complicated, because eventually I want you to be able to edit your own hairstyle. So hairstyle will not work that way. Eventually, just like you edit clothes, you can edit your own hairstyle and make your own hats with rims and, you know, hang downy parts and stuff. All that's going to come eventually, so no hair variation today. But, you know, the point's the same. My dog could have different coloring. The butterflies can have different coloring. I can, you know, do different color spiders and things. I can randomize the butterflies around so they're not all like fields and fields of blue butterflies. Anyway, thanks to the two of you who have hung around this long. You guys are hardcore, and I appreciate having company while I figured out that last little mile. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream here, and so we'll be able to see, am I still even in frame? Oh yeah, I am. So I probably needed to be back over here, but we're good. All right, guys. Thanks to the like, comment, subscribe, etc. And thanks again to my patrons. And this has been a journey. And hopefully next week goes better for everyone. Good luck, Oak. I hope your time starts to improve. In the meantime, I will see you guys next week. Thanks.